I need you to understand something before I tell you the rest. When I say the trail starts on no map, I don't mean it's not on Google Maps or some hiking app. I mean it can't be on a map, because the place it leads to doesn't stay in the same location twice. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm a search and rescue coordinator for the Cascade District in northern Washington. 15 years in the field. I've pulled lost hikers out of slot canyons, talked down hypothermic climbers at 2 in the morning, recovered bodies from avalanche debris. I'm not someone who spooks easy. But 3 weeks ago, I followed a trail that led me somewhere I can't explain. And the worst part? According to my GPS log, I never left the parking lot. Welcome to the faint whisper, where the compass spins but never lies.
We are interrupting this broadcast with an urgent alert. Search and rescue operations are underway near Miller's Lake. Residents are advised to avoid the hiking trails until further notice.
It started with a missing persons report on October 11th, 2:47 p.m. A college student named Ethan Vargas, 22 years old, had gone for a day hike near Thornwood Lake and never came back. His car, a blue Honda Civic, was still in the trailhead parking lot when his roommate checked the next morning. Keys in the cup holder, wallet in the glove box, phone dead on the passenger seat. I got the call from dispatch around 3 p.m., standard protocol. Assemble a team, grid search the main trails, check the likely turnoffs. Thornwood Lake isn't technical terrain. It's popular with families. 3 miles in, loop around the water, 3 miles out. You'd have to try to get lost. But Ethan's roommate kid named Joel said something that stuck with me. He kept talking about a shortcut, Joel told me over the phone. He said he saw it on his last hike, a side trail with orange flags, said it cut straight to the lake in half the distance. I pulled up the Forest Service maps, no side trail, no flags, just the main loop. Did he say where it started? I asked. Mile marker 2, Joel said, right after the old bridge. I knew that bridge. Steel frame thing from the 60s, rusted but stable, crosses a shallow creek. I'd walked past it 100 times, never seen a side trail. I told Joel we'd find him. That's what you say, even when you don't believe it. By 4 p.m., I had a team of 6. We split into pairs and started the grid. I took the main trail with a volunteer named Carla Estes Latte 50s, experienced, carried her own gear. The afternoon light was clean and gold, filtering through the Douglas firs. Perfect conditions. No rain forecasted. Temps in the low 60s. We reached the old bridge at 4:38 p.m. And that's when I saw them. Orange flags. 3 of them, tied to low branches on the east side of the trail just past the bridge. Bright nylon, the kind used for survey markings. They hadn't been there 2 weeks ago when I'd last worked this area. I was sure of it. Carla saw them too. That's new, she said. I radioed the other teams. Anyone familiar with survey work near mile 2? I've got flags here that aren't in the database. Static. Then our base coordinator, Lynn, came back. Negative. No permits issued for that area in 6 months. I knelt next to the first flag. The branch it was tied to looked wrong. Not broken. Not bent. It was like the tree had grown around the knot, even though the fabric was obviously new. I touched the bark, cold, way colder than it should have been. Marcus, Carla said quietly. I looked up. There was a trail, not a deer path, not a runoff channel, a trail. Packed dirt, narrow but clear, winding east into a section of forest I knew was dense underbrush. But there was no underbrush now, just open corridor, almost inviting. That wasn't here, Carla said. I know. I checked my GPS. The main trail showed up fine, a clean blue line. But the side trail, the one 10 feet in front of me, didn't register. I zoomed in, zoomed out. Nothing. I radioed Lynn again. I'm looking at an unmarked trail, sending you coordinates. Pause. Marcus, those coordinates are off the trail. You're showing as standing in the middle of dense brush. I looked down at my boots. Solid dirt path, packed from use. Copy that, I said. We're going in. The air changed the moment we stepped onto the side trail. Not temperature, not humidity, Just pressure. Like walking into a building with bad ventilation. Carla felt it too. I saw her adjust her pack straps, roll her shoulders. The forest on either side was quiet. No birds, no wind. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. We walked for maybe 10 minutes. The trail stayed clear, winding through tight clusters of fir and hemlock. Every 50 feet or so, another orange flag, always on the left side, always tied at chest height. At 5:02 p.m., we reached the first cairn. It was in the middle of the path-stacked stones, about waist high, perfectly balanced. Smooth river rocks, the kind you'd find near the lake. But the lake was still a mile and a half away, according to my map. Carla stopped. Someone's marking this. Yeah. Recent? I crouched next to the cairn. The stones were damp. Not from rain, it hadn't rained in a week. Just damp. Beaded with condensation like they'd been sitting in a freezer. I touched the top stone. It was warm. Carla saw my face. What? Feel this. She did. Pulled her hand back. That's not right. I stood up, scanned the trail ahead. More cairns. 4, 5, maybe 6 of them, disappearing around a curve. All identical. All perfectly spaced. I radioed Lynn. We're following a marked path. Cairns, flags. Still no GPS registration. Copy. How's Ethan's scent? We hadn't brought a dog. Ethan had been missing less than 24 hours, and the weather was stable. But I understood the question. No sign of him yet. Trail looks used, though. Footprints. I wasn't lying. There were footprints. Dozens of them, layered in the dirt. Boot treads, sneaker treads. Some I couldn't identify. All heading the same direction. Deeper. Recommend you turn back if visibility drops, Lynn said. Sun setting in 90 minutes. Copy. I didn't turn back. At 5:34 p.m., we heard the voice. Faint, male, calling from somewhere ahead. Help. Carla grabbed my arm. That's him. We moved faster. The trail curved left, then right, then opened into a small clearing ringed by alders. In the center, another cairn, this one taller, almost shoulder height, and behind it, a backpack. Blue. North Face logo. I recognized it from the photo Joel had sent. Ethan's pack. But no Ethan. I called out. Ethan Vargas, search and rescue. Nothing. Carla moved toward the pack. I stopped her. Wait. The clearing felt wrong. The trees around us were too symmetrical, the ground too flat, and the light. God. The light was wrong. It was golden, sure, but it wasn't coming from any direction. It was just there, ambient, like stage lighting. I keyed my radio. Lynn, we found the subject's pack. Coordinates incoming. I waited. No response. I tried again. Lynn, do you copy? Static. Carla checked her radio. Dead air. We should go back, she said. I agreed. We turned around. The trail was gone. I don't mean it had faded or gotten overgrown. I mean the corridor we'd walked through, the packed dirt, the flags, the cairns had been replaced by dense forest, saplings, ferns, fallen logs, impassable. Carla's breathing sped up. Marcus, stay calm. Where's the trail? I don't know. I pulled out my GPS. Still showed us off trail, deep in brush. But we were standing in a clearing. A real clearing. I could see the sky. I tried the radio again. Nothing. Okay, I said. We retrace our steps. We came from the west. We head west. Which way is west? I checked my compass. The needle was spinning. Not drifting. Spinning. Slow, lazy circles. Never settling. Carla saw it. Oh, Jesus. It's fine. We used the sun. I looked up. The light was still there, that flat, golden glow, but I couldn't find the sun, not behind clouds, not behind trees, just absent. Marcus? Carla whispered. Look at the cairn. I turned. The tall cairn in the center of the clearing, the one that had been behind Ethan's pack, was different. The top stone had shifted, and underneath, scratched into the stone below, were words. Turn back while it's still you. My stomach dropped. We're leaving, I said. Now. I picked a direction, any direction, and started walking. Carla followed. We pushed through underbrush, climbed over logs, forced our way through gaps in the trees. 10 minutes later, we were back in the clearing. Same cairn, same pack, same words. No, Carla said. No, we went straight, we didn't turn. I tried again. Different direction, same result. 4 times. 4 attempts. Every time, we ended up back in the clearing. At 6:13 p.m., the sun finally appeared. Not gradually. Just there, low on the horizon, cutting through the trees from the east, which meant it was rising. But it was October, in Washington, at 6 p.m. The sun doesn't rise at 6 p.m. Carla sat down hard on a log. This isn't real. It's real. Then explain it. I couldn't. I opened Ethan's pack, searching for, I don't know, a clue, a map, anything. Inside, a water bottle, half full, a granola bar, a rain shell, and a notebook. I flipped it open. Ethan's handwriting, neat and small. October 9th. Found the trail again, 3rd time this week. Flags are in different places now. Counted 14 cairns today. Last one had writing, only the lost can find it. Don't know what that means. Going back tomorrow, October 10th, trail moved. Started at mile 1.5 instead of mile 2. Followed it for 2 hours. Ended in the same clearing. Same pack I left behind last time. This doesn't make sense. Trying again. October 11th. The entry ended there. Today's date. Carla, I said, look at this. She read it, looked at me. He kept coming back. Yeah. Why? I didn't answer because I just noticed something else. On the last page of the notebook, written in different ink-shakier handwriting, if you're reading this, you're already in the loop. The only way out is to leave something behind. Underneath, a list of names. David Kress, 2018. Simone Hale, 2019. Ethan Vargas, 2024. Marcus Webb, 2024. My name. My name was already there. Carla saw it. She stood up, backed away from me. What the hell is that? I don't know. Your name is on that list. How is your name on that list? I don't know. The light shifted. The sun still wrong. Still too low slipped behind a tree, and the clearing darkened, and I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from the trees on the far side of the clearing. A figure stepped out. It was me. Same jacket, same boots, same CR vest. But the face was empty. Not blank, just devoid. Like someone had scooped out everything that made it human and left the shape. It looked at me, tilted its head. You have to leave something, it said. My voice, exact pitch, exact cadence. Carla screamed. The thing me stepped closer. You followed the trail. The trail doesn't let you leave, not whole. What do you want? I said. What you brought. I don't understand. It pointed at my chest. Your name, your face, your place. The trail needs a marker. You can leave it here, or you can stay and become it. I looked at Carla. She was crying. Marcus, please. Leave something behind, the thing said again. That's the exchange. I thought about Ethan, about David Kress, Simone Hale. Names I'd never heard. People who'd followed this trail and never came back. Or did come back, but not the same. What happens if I refuse? I asked. The thing smiled. It was my smile, but wrong. Then the loop continues. And eventually, you'll forget why you wanted to leave. I looked down at the notebook in my hands, and I understood. I grabbed my SAR vest, the one with my name embroidered on the chest, and threw it on the cairn. There, take it. The thing watched me, waited. Not enough, it said. What else? Something true. I didn't know what that meant, but Carla did. She stepped forward, pulled off her wedding ring, and placed it on the cairn. My marriage ended 2 years ago, she said, voice shaking. I still wear this because I'm afraid to admit it's over. That's true. That's mine. The thing looked at her, nodded. Then it looked at me. I closed my eyes. Thought about the worst thing I'd never said out loud. I left my sister at a campsite when I was 17, I said. She asked me to wait for her while she used the bathroom. I got impatient. I left. She got lost. They found her 3 days later, hypothermic, traumatized. She never spoke to me again. I became SAR because I've spent 15 years trying to fix that, but I can't. And I never will. Silence. When I opened my eyes, the thing was gone. The trail reappeared. Clear, obvious, leading west. And we ran. We reached the trailhead parking lot at 7:52 p.m. My truck was there, Carla's car, Ethan's blue Civic. The other SAR teams were waiting. Lynn ran over, face tight with relief. Jesus Christ, Marcus, where the hell were you? You've been dark for 3 hours. 3 hours? Carla said. We were out there for... She stopped. Lynn frowned. For what? I checked my watch. 7:52 p.m. We'd entered the side trail at 4:50 p.m. 3 hours. Almost exactly. But it had felt like longer. Much longer. I checked my GPS log. According to the data, I'd never left the parking lot. Lynn handed me a radio. Ethan Vargas just called his roommate. Said he got turned around, spent the afternoon napping under a tree. He's fine. Already drove home. I stared at her. He's fine? Yeah, apologized for wasting our time. I looked at Carla. She was pale, shaking. Did we? She started. I didn't let her finish. Because in my pocket, I felt something I hadn't put there. I pulled it out. A smooth river stone. The kind from the cairns. On one side, scratched in thin letters. Marcus Webb, 2024. I still work here. I still hike the Thornwood area. But I don't look for side trails anymore. And when people report orange flags, unmarked cairns, paths that lead nowhere, I tell them the same thing. Some trails aren't meant to be found. They find you. And once they do, the only question is what you're willing to leave behind. I kept the stone. I don't know why. Maybe as a reminder. Maybe because I'm afraid if I throw it away, I'll forget this happened. Or maybe because some part of me is still in that clearing, still trying to find the way out. If you've ever followed a trail that wasn't on the map, if you've ever seen markers that shouldn't exist, turn back. Immediately. Because the next name on that cairn might be yours. This is The Faint Whisper. Subscribe if you dare, because some paths don't have exits, only echoes.